I think we're live because it says we're live, but it always is a little bit slower. So hopefully everyone can see us. Thanks for meeting so late at night, Emily.
Yeah, of course.
Kind of late,
You got to catch me post bedtime.
right? So we're doing another discussion today with one of our Couch to Camp presenters and organizers. This is Emily Wilson. Emily, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about who you are and why you're involved in this amazing event?
Yes. So I'm Emily. I co-own Blossom Behavioral Services. I'm a BCBA in Southeastern Virginia. I founded a regional professional organization called Tidewater Behavior Analysts Collaborative. And I am involved in this event because I've known Megan for a long time. And I think we started talking about this event because I just coincidentally had a very similar idea for an event. And you and I were like, oh, that's weird. We separately, but simultaneously had this idea to do like a learning retreat, which just speaks to my soul. So I was really excited to kind of combine forces and get on board with this event.
Love it. Yes, I was so excited when you posted that you were interested, because seeing that someone else was thinking about it showed that it wasn't just me being like, we should do this.
Yeah.
But also like to have the opportunity to work with you on something like this and have your insight and your training expertise would be amazing as well. So super excited that you're participating in this event with us. So before we start, I wanted to do a little bit of a share with people because we've had a few people ask us about the different event levels. So one of the things that I wanted to be excited about tonight, and that's why I know we both have our wine, probably not the main reason why we have our wine, but it is 8:30 and it's been a stressful week. Is it Friday yet? Don't think it is, unfortunately. But we're celebrating tonight as well because our camp is sold out. And when I initially conceived of this, the idea that we would have 40 people registered and ready to go for camp was like really stressful because it's a lot of time and effort and of course finances. So I'm super excited that we'll have 40 of us in the Poconos in September. Fingers crossed that COVID is taken care of by then.
It definitely will be. Definitely will.
So that levels out when I do the screen share and we show that. But we can still talk about the online conference and coaching because that's going to be an amazing experience as well. So I'm hoping that some of the people that are watching tonight can chime in about things they're looking forward to on the event and also ask any questions you might have. But we're also going to have Emily do a little Q&A with us about prioritizing all of the things. Probably not all of the things because we won't have time for that, but the point
most
being,
of the things.
Yes, as many of the things as we can talk about. So that was one of the big,
if you will.
Yes. That was one of the big things that you were really wanting to make sure to share and help others learn about. So I'm really excited because we'll talk about this a little bit later, but that is something that a lot of people in the surveys seem to be struggling with right now as one of their gaps in the field, is figuring out how to prioritize and make time for everything. So we're really looking forward to helping people learn a little bit more about how to do that. So welcome everyone. I see a few people are here: Kathy, Catherine, Casey, Karen, a lot of "k" sounds. So welcome to our stream. And I'm going to go ahead and start the screen share so that we can just talk about the event levels. I just have to get all my stuff pulled back up. So let's see, here we go. So I'll put this link in the comments for this live event, but hopefully everybody can see my screen right now. If you go to the link that I post, we have the 3 different event levels. We decided to do this theme of a tree for the event because we had the 3 different event levels and we wanted to signify what you would be purchasing and have kind of a metaphor going about what that showed for the content you would learn. So as I mentioned, the Mighty Oak is sold out, and that would be our camp experience, but I'm not really going to talk about that one a whole lot tonight. we do still have registration open until the end of the day on March 20th for our Taproot and our Seed level. So the Taproot level, it says, anchor your learning experience and set the stage for future growth. The reason we have it set up this way is because with the Taproot ticket, you would attend our 3-day online conference where you'll have access to the different presentations that we're doing. We have themes within the presentations that we're doing focused on assessment, instructional design, intervention, and problem solving. And we'll have a main presentation and breakout sessions relating to that. And then we have a lot of networking and expo opportunities as well during the conference. That conference is April 3rd through 5th. Then after the online event, you can either attend it live or you can watch the recordings. You can view them at any time you want. So if you don't really need CEs right now, you could wait and get your CE certificates after you recert. We have 6 monthly coaching meetings that we are going to do following those same themes. So each month we will have an assignment that's hands-on and applied, where you will practice applying what we taught in the conference. And then we will meet as a group to do coaching around that topic. So people who purchase the Taproot ticket really have the opportunity to set the stage for future growth. So with this one, you have an opportunity to earn up to 27 BACB CEUs if you complete all of the different recordings or attend the live coaching meetings as well. Emily, do you have anything to add about the Taproot level?
Yeah, I do. It's funny because this is kind of really what inspired me to really get on board with this event. And again, one of those like weirdly similar ideas that we just had on the opposite sides of the country, but where we go to conferences all the time. Like we go to trainings, we're CEU addicts, right? We're always absorbing all of this information, and we leave a conference and we forget about it, or maybe we don't apply it or whatever. And it's just such a waste. It's a waste of like this awesome opportunity to really like get in on that BST, almost BST, just above BST level, and really apply what you know and get some feedback about how it went, and really dig in. So I think it's much more valuable than just a typical conference.
Yes, and we will be incorporating some BST with some of the activities even in the online conference, because the main stage will be mostly kind of lecture, explain to you what it is that we're trying to teach you. And then our breakout sessions will include a lot of examples and like practice with the content as well. But that's one thing to do, go over that online in a group and then actually go back and apply it with your clients. And we realize right now people may not have as much practice with their clients, but we'll be creative. We'll come up with some ways to make sure people are really able to practice applying things.
For sure. If you have the social accountability piece, right? Like,
yes,
you got your buds all counting on you to apply that stuff.
Yes, exactly. One of the things that we have for this too is we've set up payment plan options. So you can do a one-time payment of $300, or you can do 3 $100 payments. And we just added, with all the financial strain that people are under, 6 payments of $50. And we have had a few people use that. So I'm glad that we're able to offer these different options. Our web developer, Adam, is just amazing, has helped me with every request I've made to get these things going. So, and the really nice thing is when you purchase, whether it's the Taproot level or the Seed level, we have a point system on our website. So however much money you spend, you get points, and those go toward money off future purchases. So if you get all your CEs with this event, down the road in a year or two, if you need additional CEs, we are constantly adding content and you can put your points towards that. And really you'll end up getting, like with the, if you did the $300, you'll get 30 points. So that's basically like a additional free CE course, which is great. Then the next level is the Seed. So with this one, it says, plant the opportunity to recognize your full personal and professional potential. So with this one, I was kind of conceptualizing this might be more for people who don't have the time commitment abilities for the coaching, maybe don't have the financial to put that kind of money towards a learning experience right now. Maybe it's parents or registered behavior technicians or other professionals who want the content, but again, it's just like not feasible to do the coaching. So with this one, it's the 3-day online conference that I already described, and you would earn up to 21 learning CEUs. And same thing, we'll have the 4 themes, plenty of opportunity to learn and apply within the conference itself. Just, you kind of don't get that accountability and discussion and problem solving afterwards. So With this one, it's $150 for the 21 CEs, and you can do the one-time payment, or we just added 5 payments of $30. So again, for people that may have some financial constraints right now, this can hopefully help with that. Emily, did you have anything to add about the seed level?
I just think it's such a cool concept. We're gonna do so much networking. Oh my gosh, I'm so stoked for all the networking. This the platform is really, really cool. We've been getting lots and lots of sneak peeks of it as we're planning the conference, and I just think it's going to be a really unique experience. It honestly, until we had a pandemic to deal with, it never really would have occurred to me to put a conference online. So this is just, it's a really, I think it's even cooler than like a regular webinar or something that we've been exposed to a ton of times, just because the platform is so unique.
Yes. So I'm so excited about the platform, and we have done a few live streams of that, and hopefully you all saw the sneak peek of that that we did earlier in the week on Monday. If not, it's on our Do Better page and you can find it there. So now I'm finally going to get to the actual purpose of our talk today. So I'm super excited about this. Apparently, I don't know what's going on with my Zoom. I was trying to have it on the gallery view, but it's doing something weird. Anyway, so I just did something weird there. So for this, what we're going to do is just kind of like a little mini interview. So you can tell us a little bit more about your ideas around prioritizing. So before we go into that, I just wanted to, again, remind everyone that you're organizing the prioritizing section and giving us a lot of really great ideas about that. Is there anything in general you want to tell us about that? Like what maybe motivated you to want to talk about this? And then I'll ask you some more specific questions. And of course, anyone who's listening, if you have questions about the event levels that I just showed you, or if you have questions for Emily, please feel free to chime in. If we have time at the end, I'll go back to our website and show more information about the actual online conference. But I wanted to make sure we have time to talk about prioritizing with Emily.
Yeah, so this topic and the content surrounding this topic really kind of organically grew out of just a need for it, kind of across providers that I was working with. It's such a common problem to not be sure exactly where you should be devoting, time and resources are limited. So being unsure about using your learner's time wisely is just super, super common. I think it's something that we all struggle with. So I started kind of gathering tips and tricks, and realized that, wow, this is really valuable for the people that I'm kind of sharing it with. And so now I'd like to share it with more people.
Well, that is so generous of you to share your hard work with everyone. But of course, the more we can help others in our field do better, then the better outcomes our clients have. So that's why we're all here, right? Okay, so I have a few questions to ask you. The first one is, what are the key components of a really good intervention package?
So the priorities for a really, really good intervention package obviously start with assessment. So I think a lot of times we go in straight into assessing skills, right? We want to know, can he do this? How's his receptive language? What does this look like, right? Whereas I think that a lot of times we skip over pre-learning or learning readiness skills, and they're just so important. An assessment that prioritizes learning readiness is the foundation for a really solid treatment package. From there, there's kind of a few things you can pull. Never stop pairing, right? Pairing is not something that we do at the beginning when we're trying to get a learner's buy-in. We are always pairing. We pair every single day. I really can't stress the importance of, I think in other fields, they call it building a therapeutic rapport. Yep. And I kind of like that term better than pairing with.
But we have to have our own terms all the time.
Yeah, right. So very sciencey. Beyond that, a really compassionate service delivery model that's focused on continuous, enthusiastic learner assent. So assent is kind of an accessible word. Hanley calls it happy, relaxed, and engaged.
Yep.
right? Happy, relaxed, and engaged. So that's what we're talking about when we're thinking about learner assent, right? We want our kiddos to come to us when they see instructional materials coming out, right? We don't want them running away, screaming, crying. That is not assent.
Right.
Beyond that, but kind of related, teaching self-advocacy is a big one. Obviously, reliance on function-based interventions. I think I don't need to belabor that point. But I think the really, really key thing that I don't see enough of is keeping motivating operations at the forefront of your in-the-moment decision making. A really, really solid handle on motivating operations is a game changer in terms of effective instruction.
Yep. That is very true. And I think the work that Hanley's doing kind of helps people conceptualize that a little bit more with the discussion around the EOs and pressing the EOs from like a challenging behavior perspective. But then there's the other side of it too. Even if you have a learner who's maybe happy, relaxed, and engaged, or maybe just happy and relaxed, but you know, they're not fighting it, but they're not necessarily motivated either. And that shifts so quickly. So being able to recognize that in the different contextual variables is super important. I put in the chat try to see if anyone has any components they would add or if they agree with you about the ones that you identified. I was trying to think if there's any additional ones. I think the only one I would probably add, and it may seem a little bit outside of like intervention package, but the ability to collaborate and work well with the family when we're talking about motivating operations to like being able to properly help coach them so that they can actively be engaged with the process as well.
Yes.
And everybody's going to learn that if they don't know it already, because that's pretty much what we have access to right now. Okay, so some people in our survey had questions about prioritizing their time spent on different aspects of their job. What are some ways that BCBAs can make sure they're managing their clinical time well?
Oh, that's such a big one. So in general, pay attention to what is being used and what isn't. And when I say that, I mean it in the broadest sense possible. So kind of taking back that big picture observation, what's being used from the stuff that you spend your hard energy on in terms of programming, in terms of materials, that kind of thing. If it's not being put to use, you wasted your time. So stop doing that. Whatever that is, that's not a good use of your time. Cut that one out. I think that's especially specific to like materials creation, right? If the program that you have in your mind requires you to design, print, cut out, and laminate a visual or whatever, reevaluate. Maybe there's a different way to do that. Maybe there's something that you can do to kind of cut that time down by using digital resources, using pre-made resources. Even think about the value of your time, right? Like if this needs to be a paper resource, but it's something you can purchase, how long is it going to take you to make? How much is your time worth? How much do you bill an hour? You know what I mean? So that's really, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Thanks, Mom.
I saw you on Facebook.
So in also kind of thinking about materials creation, delegating. That's not to say that if the material is going to be not a good use of your time, it's necessarily going to be a good use of your technician's time. So, you know, everyone's time is valuable. Still apply that same logic there. I think it's important to learn your funder requirements and take time to familiarize yourself with what's billable, what isn't, what's required in the documentation that you submit to your funder. That really kind of bleeds into, so for me, really time consuming work is mostly writing. I do a lot of writing as part of my clinical work, and the purpose of a treatment plan is to secure a reauthorization. It is not to write a diatribe about this learner and all of the, you know, many details of his or her life. So that's something that you really want to keep in mind. If you're meeting your funding requirements, it could be the difference between a 3-hour job and a 10-hour job, right? So really, and on the flip side of that, thinking about the purpose of the programming that you're writing that people are actually going to read and implement, right? You really want to spend time on that. That's where you really want to dig in and get detailed and be technological. So yeah, those are kind of some tips and tricks for prioritizing your time.
Perfect. I like that. And we had talked about this earlier leading up to, kind of prepping for the live tonight. And we were both, look, I think you said something about like, we could just get rid of laminators, probably don't need those.
Let them go. Just gotta let them go.
And one of the things that I was telling Emily when I first started in the field, so if anyone's listening right now and is like, oh man, I'm doing a lot of wasteful things. When I first started, I only had a handful of clients. So, I had more time on my hands, but I was doing updates for parents monthly. And I would write these like 6 to 8 page reports to update them on their child's progress, even though they were also regularly participating in parent training, observing the sessions, debriefing with me each session. I would have like a monthly meeting with them. And most of the parents like they was just like, they didn't care. And not because they didn't care about their learners' progress. It was just way too frequent. They could see what was going on. I was so engaged with them when I was there. They didn't need this 6 to 8 page document to update them. However, the reason I was doing that was because my history when I was in graduate school, that's what we did. We were required to write a monthly update. So I just carried that over. And it took probably longer than I should admit to realize, wow, I'm wasting my time on this. I think what happened was I ended up having more clients and I legit didn't have time to do it. So that's one thing I would recommend. I don't know if anyone's ever done time studies, but recording kind of for a couple of days what things you're doing and then reflecting upon those. And like you said, Emily, looking at what's actually functional and making a difference and having an impact on your clients and your trainees, your actual job and your outcomes, be outcome focused. And then anything that's not, either delegate it if it's something that's necessary, or stop doing it. Even if you have a history of this is how something should be done, it doesn't mean you have to keep doing it that way.
Gotta trim the fat.
Yes. If only it were that easy to trim fat off of our bodies. So if anyone that's watching right now has any suggestions on additional things they do to help prioritize, again, we're going to be going over this in more detail in the online conference, but, and I'm so excited. I talked, I think, with Amy about this on Monday. So excited, not just about you presenting on this, but then especially when we do the coaching, but with how the online conference will be super interactive, learning from others, because everyone always has their hacks, right? So we have over 100 plus people registered right now. We're expecting that to be a few more because of the registration deadline on Friday. So that many different amazingly dedicated do better behavior analysts and others in the field sharing their brains. Oh my goodness. I cannot wait to see what ideas people have.
I'm so excited to learn. I'm so excited to get better at this.
What are some overlooked, sorry, this is the next question. What are some overlooked prioritizing questions we could all be asking ourselves more often?
Ooh, that's, so that is such a great question. So I'll steal one from Amy that I think is just so important, and it's really just step back and watch. Just take a one step back from this very specific, I'm taking data on this very specific movement cycle, right? And think about, am I over teaching this? Does this learner need this level of instruction to gain the skill repertoire that I'm trying to teach? If it's, if it's hand washing and I'm teaching every single step all the way to mastery, to fluency, etc., maybe I want to just take a step back and I want to see, can he just wash his hands? How does it look when he tries, right? Because I'm still focused on step 3, and turns out he can do 6 and 7 completely independently. So is there something that I can do to reevaluate and reprioritize my teaching to make this skill acquisition go much quicker? I don't do a good enough job of that. That is a self-identified area for improvement.
Hopefully
But
we'll all do better with that though too, because that is something Amy has really well, Amy and a lot of like Corinne and Kathy, who
yes,
are doing a lot of the content for the conference within the work that they do, and they're all precision teachers and behavior analysts. They do the micro, macro, meta assessments a lot, and it's those assessments that require you to give that space, right? To see,
right.
you know, how do they do when I just take a step back from teaching? Now, you could always schedule that in yourself without knowing anything about those 3 levels of assessment. But if you're incorporating those 3 levels, it's like bound to happen where you have to see what they're doing.
Right. Yes, absolutely. So micro, macro, and metadata are super, super important to prioritizing. And then the flip side of that would be asking yourself, is this learner ready to learn this? Are they ready? It goes back to the conversation we were having about pre-learning and learning readiness skills, right? If your learner can't stand within a 3-foot circle for longer than 5 seconds, you are unlikely to be able to instruct them. That might be your starting point, right? And this seems obvious, but it's super not. It's really, really not obvious, because you got your nose in the ABLES or the BB map, right? And you're like, oh, I need to teach them to man for mommy. And meanwhile, you don't even notice that you're chasing this kid around the house, trying to contrive that motivation to man for mommy. So that's also a really, really big one. Is he ready to learn this? Or is she ready to learn this? I think one that's really overlooked and almost kind of tragically so is, what are my learners' priorities? What's important to this learner? What does this learner want and need? What to, live their most fulfilling life? I think we do a pretty decent job of incorporating caregiver concerns most of the time, but I don't see a ton of conversation myself about learner priorities. Does this learner care about this? Does this learner want to learn this? It's important. We should probably consider that. The learner is the client. The caregiver is, a secondary client. And then the last one is really, am I motivating this learner? Right? Going back to that conversation that we had about motivating operations, that it is the most important thing that you can be fluent with as a behavior analyst. Motivating operations are the foundation for effective teaching, period.
Yep. And they change.
Super fluid.
But a lot of people are black and white and like go one way and that's it.
Right.
We had a few new people join us. Welcome to our live. We're talking to Emily about prioritizing. I saw Nakia gave a shout out to you, Emily, about, again, just what you had said about the motivating operations being so important. And then what we were talking about with collaborating with families and other service providers. If anyone else has any other thoughts or comments about prioritizing or just in general that you want to share and talk about tonight, we're going to finish up here pretty soon, but I did want to make sure we leave room for people that want to have an active conversation with us about this topic, or really anything else is fine too, to be honest. Before we finish, Emily, if you have like 5 extra minutes, I was going to go ahead and screen share the actual event page, because in all my excitement to do the questions with you, I forgot to show that part. So
Ready.
that. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. You still have some wine left, so we should be good there.
Got 5 minutes of wine. Really
nice. Okay. So I showed everyone the event levels at the beginning of the Facebook live. We do still have exhibitor and sponsorship options available. You can see the little tab up there. I have some stuff that I'll be putting out tomorrow and Friday that show the expo space, which I'm just so excited about. It's like the most comfortable expo situation you could imagine, because you don't have to awkwardly talk to people. You can just check out what they have available and like get their offers. It's almost as fun as going around and getting a bunch of pens. So we don't have pens, but you'll get to learn about a lot of really great companies. So this is the
camp, right?
Huh?
I think there will be pens at camp.
There should be pens at camp and some other swag, yes. So this is the main event page if you just want to learn more about the event overall. And it is long, but that's because it's a 3-part event. So there's a lot of information and everyone might have a little bit more time on their hands over the next few days if you want to learn more. So I'm not going to go through and read all of this. Obviously, one of the big things is we're focused on doing better together. And I'll read what it says in bold. Our goal is to help you break free from the chains of rigid cookie cutter commercial assessments and programs and grow your skill set as an analyst who fluently makes moment-to-moment decisions based on their current context and learner responding. And then we just have it set up. We have our amazing sponsors. So thank you to Tucci Learning Solutions, Upswing Advocates, ABA Therapy Billing and Insurance Services, and PBS are some of our sponsors. Some of our main big sponsors. That's why it says our top sponsors. And we do have a few others that I'll be posting about over the next few weeks. And this is the timeline. It shows the couch portion of the event. So this is the fully fledged conference that we've been talking about, April 3rd to 5th. And I'll show you the conference schedule here in a second. And like it says here, this event is curated for behavior analysts of all backgrounds who are committed to lifelong professional growth and improvement in the science of behavior analysis. Network, see, and be seen, learn from leaders in our field in this 3-day conference, all from the comfort of your own couch. And then we have the 2 section. So this is the coaching that I was talking about. Put learning to action with monthly meetings focused on digging deeper into each of the topics covered during the conference. Meetings open with problem solving, application of the previous content, and cascade into community sharing of experience for the assigned content, and close out with practical applied exercises for the next meeting. And then lastly, the camp is September 25th to 28th. Like I mentioned, right now it's sold out, so I'm not really going to spend much time on that, but we do have spots available for the conference and the coaching. And then this just goes into detail about the event as a whole, why we're doing it. I'm not going to read all of that. You get a rundown of all of our organizers and presenters. I'll recognize everyone, but I'm not reading their bios right now. So myself, Amy Evans, Dr. Corinne Gist, Kathy Fox, Emily Wilson, who's on with us right now, Jennifer Phelps, Dr. August Stockwell, super excited for their presentation. And then,
Me too.
Yay. And then this explains a little bit more about the online conference with some pictures. Again, it's a lot of information. You can see a little bit more about the schedule and the themes I was talking about here, but I've also posted some pictures of the full schedule throughout Facebook. I'll post a link in the comments here as well, some slides that I made that have what are we actually talking about during the assessment time, the instructional design time, etc. So again, we're talking about assessment, instructional design. We have a panel. Then we have some Ignite sessions that I'm super excited about. We have Dia, Shane Spiker. We have Vince and Jennifer Lamarca. I think we're going to have Steve Ward might be presenting something, Mary Sawyer. And then we have a few other, Maggie Pavone. There's a few others. I need to get in touch with everyone on Friday and touch base. But so super excited about that. That's just a fun time to see people present about different fun aspects of the field of behavior analysis. And then there's open time for networking where people can talk to each other even though the conference is not going on. And then on April 4th, we have the intervention. And then we'll be focusing on data analysis and problem solving. And we'll wrap up with another panel. And then we have an accountability activity that we will do probably based around goal setting. We haven't finalized yet what that activity will be, but we will have something to help bring us together and be accountable for what we've learned over the online conference. And again, we have after hours networking, and on Sunday, it's networking the whole entire day. So people can set up breakouts. We have different discussion rooms open where people can pop in and have discussions about the topics they're learning. We might even set up a couple relating to COVID if people want to hop in and talk about what they're doing or just vent for a day about that. So we'll have an opportunity just like at a real conference to do all of those types of things with proper social distancing. And then we have the monthly coaching. It explains the monthly coaching here. I'm not going to read about that. And then it concludes with information about our camp and our different experts that will be presenting at the camp. And that is the very bottom is the exhibitor and sponsorship. So really excited about the whole entire event. After I've shown everyone that, it's perfect timing, Emily. What's your thing that you're most excited about? That's my last question for you. So what are you most excited about for our Do Better Couch to Camp 2020?
It's definitely camp. It's got to be camp, right? Like it's camp. It's camp for sure.
Just
I
camp.
can't wait.
Nothing specific about the camp, just camp.
Work vacation. So
Yes.
yes, that.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm super excited about the camp too. I'm trying to like not be as excited right now because I want to make sure things get smoothed out, but hopefully we'll be good
So
to go.
far, it's fine. It's definitely, we're gonna make it.
Yeah. So anyone that's watching, I see a few additional people join. Hi, Jenny. Hi, Karen. Hi, Corinne. If anybody has any questions for us, we'll hang out for like another minute and see if there's any conversation or questions, and then we'll close out our live for tonight. I always love the awkward silence. There's also, like, people are going to hear this after I say it, but there's a delay too. So I said that and then we have to wait even longer.
You're making it less awkward. No, which is for sure.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for watching. Feel free to post comments in the chat and we'll follow those and reply to them. We hope to see you all in a couple weeks at the online conference where, again, it's fully online situation where we will even have networking with video capabilities. So we actually will see you, not just type with you. So see everyone in a few weeks.
Bye.